Hey everybody, today I have something special for everyone. I have never done a card reveal and I've had this idea or this style for a while. So, Egyptian is coming out, the Egyptian Mythology expansion. If you haven't pre-ordered it, you still can. You have until probably February 13th, which is when the expansion drops. So we are almost basically a little over 2 weeks out. So today I have three card reveals, and then I'll reveal all three of those kind of in succession. I'll reveal one, talk about for a bit, reveal the next, so on and so forth. And then I've pulled up all of the other cards that have been revealed up to this point, and we'll kind of talk about a set as a whole. But then there will be a separate video talking about the entire Egyptian mythology as a whole, and just kind of my thoughts, my rankings on it, and things like that. So, let's get into the first reveal. So Mummify. We have Mummify, which is almost a removal spell. Now, before we really talk about it, what is a mummy? A mummy is this little token. I thought about having the big reveal for this mummy, but I didn't really think it was worth it just because it's a little token that is... I'm not sure if it's only generated by this card, but you can't... It's a non-collectible card, but... if it might only be generated by this or other cards that do this, that either turn a creature into a mummy or you summon a mummy or something like that. But this is a mummy. So it is a 2/1 with ethereal, meaning once it dies it doesn't go into your graveyard, which is kind of important that it doesn't go into your graveyard for later reasons. But you can also target your own units. So the only reason that I bring this up is if you say have that black sheep, you could turn that black sheep into a mummy and kind of negate its effects, and it does give you a creature with 2 more powers, same number of endurance, but then it would actually do something. And as far as transforming, I'm not sure about how readying will work. I actually need to ask that real quick. But that is my initial thoughts on Mummy or Mummify. We'll talk more about its effectiveness after a couple more reveals. So, we have Handmade. Handmade is 3 costs, 1/2, common card. Summon, discard your leftmost card from hand, and then on death star you draw a card. Why would this ever be useful? And really, it doesn't make sense unless you look at the other Egyptian cards, which again, let's reveal the third one, and then we'll come back and talk about Handmade more, because this seems like a crap card, but it's actually really good. We have Cleopatra, the Last Pharaoh, a pretty cool mythical card. Is a 6 cost 2/2, which for the stats, that's missing about 4 magicka worth of stats, or worth of stuff basically. But you put the 2 most expensive units from your deck on the left flank, and then you give them Doom. Doom means they die after participating in battle. Now this doesn't summon them, but this is insane. This card, I am super excited to play. So, let's back up a bit. Before we can really talk about these 3 cards, Bast and Osiris have been revealed in two separate articles on the World of Myths blog. I will put links to those two articles in the description in case if you have not seen them, but I'm assuming everybody has seen them because these have been revealed over the last 2 weeks. So, Bast mainly deals with temple upgrades, and we will talk about her cards later, but all three of our cards, with the exception of Mummify, Handmaid, and Cleopatra, both, at least with the two leaders that have been revealed, they both really help Osiris, who, from his pedestal, the first unit you resurrect each turn gains 1 power and 1 endurance. What does Resurrect do? Resurrect pulls the bottom-most creature of your discard pile and puts them on the battlefield. It does not trigger Summon, because it's put. Or I think it's Move. That's how it's even worded. But it comes from the bottom. So like the first card that goes into your graveyard will be the one that's resurrected. Unless you have things like Priest of the Afterlife, which when it dies, you actually resurrect it with Ethereal, so it never goes in your discard pile, is essentially what this means. Because it resurrects itself and then banishes itself, so it will never go in your discard pile. And you would never really want to resurrect this guy, other than for his simple power, I guess. Then you have Herald of Legends, which is summon, resurrect a 6-cost unit. So again, like with Handmaid, you're discarding your leftmost card. And then you can come over here and use Herald of Legends or use another card that I'm about to get to resurrect it. And then it's still in the battlefield. And so you essentially you don't get its summon effect. So if you say you discard Sephir here, you wouldn't get the summon effect if you use Handmaid and then resurrect the card you discarded. However, there are other cards, Duja, or Duaj, maybe it's Duaj. He would also not be a good target for Handmaid. However, you still resurrect the 4 weakest units with Death Stare and kill them, triggering their Death Stare. You don't get their summon effect, but you get their Death Stare effect. It would also, Return from the Grave is resurrect a unit. It's a common spell. However, Ramses here. Ramses with, say, Duaj, you get to resurrect 4 units. Gain 1 power when he is resurrected, and he keeps his power when he dies. So pretty much you can keep him coming back, and Herald of Legends can resurrect Ramses, and you probably never want to play Ramses from hand because he doesn't have a summon effect. There's no bonus to him. So you would, Handmaid, at least with the cards so far, would want to target Ramses, and you discard him. And then maybe there's a card later that will boost Graveyard, and if it does, Ramses is just awesome. I mean, that could be... He would only be the only target, really, of boosting your Graveyard. I guess every other unit could keep their bonuses when they come back. But you can resurrect him with Return from the Grave. You can resurrect him not with Duaj, unless he's the weakest unit. Just throwing it out there. I think... Oh, he doesn't have Death Stare. Never mind. Ramses could not be Duaj. Sephir could definitely trigger Ramses, especially after you resurrect him a couple times. Essentially, he's going to keep coming back. And there's no target banish a card. There's kill cards all over the place. Not really all over, but there are plenty of kill cards. Ramses, however, wants to die, so that's totally fine. As long as Ramses can stay either in your graveyard or on the battlefield, and there's no way to just banish a card, then he's going to be really good. So now with Cleopatra, that was kind of about Handmaid being good. With Cleopatra, you could put Ramses in your discard pile immediately, or actually this goes on your battlefield and it gives them doom. So you want Ramses to die, and Cleopatra basically sets Ramses up to die. And since Cleopatra pulls 2 most expensive units, you could set your deck up pretty well where Ramses is, say, maybe one of 3 who does this, or one of your 3 most expensive units, or even just you only have 2 units. So you could set this up, and I think you could go more than two expensive units, to either give you some fluctuation or just in case if you draw. Like say if you draw Ramses and you only have 1/6 cost and 1/7 cost unit. Actually, Cleopatra will still pull 2 other units, but if you want to kind of target it to say 4 specific cards, you could have 2 7 cost, 2 6 cost creatures in your deck. If you happen to draw 1 or 2 of them, Cleopatra will still pull the other 2, and you can kind of know what Cleopatra is pulling. Because if Cleopatra is just pulling something random, you don't want her to target something random. You want to kind of build your deck in a way to where you know what 2 creatures are coming, and you want those 2 creatures to either do something when they die, or can be resurrected easily, or have some benefit of that. So, I think Cleopatra is a well-crafted mythical card just because it forces you, not really forces you, but I don't think Cleopatra will be good in, say, Bass Temple Upgrades deck, unless you want to include other Resurrect cards in Bass decks. But Cleopatra highly encourages you to play Resurrect abilities. Now, Mummify, that is a great Egyptian card across the board, can go in any deck. Thus far, there might be a better one that it goes in, but at the moment, with decks that are sitting around Bast or Bastet, I'm going with Bast because I've always seen her name spelled B-A-S-D, and that seems easier for me. And you know, guys, I have a problem with pronouncing cards. But Osiris, I don't know. I'm going with Osiris because it sounds cool. But with these 2 decks, Mummify can go in either one, because I would rank it. I mean, maybe I need to come up with a number system like other players who rank cards. But I would put Mummify very on the higher end. It's better than your average card just because it can go in either one. So now let's talk. Well, wait. Before we. So Mummify can go in any deck. Handmade, you want to go in a Resurrect deck. I think it's pretty useless in other decks, so it kind of gets less points just because it goes in a specific deck. But this goes great with Douage, where you resurrect the 4 waste units and you kill them. Handmade is one of those because it's super weak, and it's just there to draw a card. You wouldn't have to do the summon ability with Douage. So I think this is a great card to go in Osiris's deck and even be coupled with Douage, because Douage and Sephir could go, and they don't even have to go together really. They just are basically 2 twin lines, and they thematically would go well together, and so I think they are really cool. It also makes sense that you have 2 Douage cards and you have 2 Sephir cards. I like those 2. But Cleopatra, again, mainly goes in Resurrection decks. But let's talk temple upgrades. Anuket has +2 power for each friendly temple with the upgrade. What is a temple upgrade? Temple upgrades are essentially spells, but rather than going on the battlefield or in your graveyard, when you play them, they attach to a temple and they do something. Here is an example of a temple upgrade. Flower Pots. Gain 1 health when you play it. Destroy this card after the upgrade temple takes damage. Actually, hang on. Or here, let's talk about a different card first. So, another card that was released with Bast is Bubastis Reserves. Bubastis? I don't know how you say this word, but reserve. Play only during defense. Essentially has reinforcement. Put a readied temple militia on each of your flanks. What is a temple militia? Furthermore, this feline garrison, which is a temple upgrade, friendly temple militia have +1 power. Temple militia, kind of as implied. Well, this isn't pulling up for some reason. Here we go. Temple upgrades, temple militia, they gain 1 power when you play an upgrade, and it is a 3 cost 1 2, as in 3 cost 1 power 2 endurance creature, and then they gain a power when you play an upgrade. Couldn't really find my answer, but I'm pretty sure Flower Pots works. The template that you play this on would gain 1 health rather than your leader or anything. And I think that's all it does. It gains 1 health, and then once that temple gets damaged, you destroy this temple upgrade. Why would you want to do that? Kind of because Bast. When you play an upgrade, you put a temple militia on your left flank. So you're constantly going to be having these simple militias that gain powers when you play upgrades. At the moment, there is only Flower Pots and Feline Garrison are the 2 temple upgrades. There will be a minimum of 3. I'm expecting a minimum of 3 just based on you have 3 temples. This gives your temple militia 1 extra power. That gives your temple militia or another temple militia. But then you have Hatshepsut? Hat, the noble, the first upgrade you replace each turn returns to your hand. So, if you play Flower Pots on your left temple and then you play Feline Garrison on your left temple as well, you would get that card back. You would get Flower Pots back rather than it going to your graveyard or going away. It might have Ethereal, I'm not sure. But essentially that's what temple upgrades are doing, is they boost your when Priest of the Alabaster puts a Flower Pots upgrade into your hand. So there, you don't just have to run these cards in your deck. You can just generate them in other ways. And Anuket has +2 power for each friendly temple with an upgrade, or with upgrade. So, kind of how you would use these cards, you would want to play this card probably with no temple upgrades and just leave it as a 1/3. And then your next turn, you could even do it during your defense, since they are technically spells. You could play your temple upgrades, boost this Anuket's power, and either block, kind of surprisingly, although you would only have 3 faith left, although you could still play Flower Pots. You could not play Feline Garrison, but say you had two Flower Pots, you could play 2 Flower Pots, or even 3 Flower Pots, if you happen to get that lucky and have all 4 of these cards in hand at once. You play Anuket on your attack pass, assuming this is turn 10 or after, and then your opponent attacks. You only have 1 defense with Anuket, but then you play 3 temple upgrades, and you would have a 7/3 basically, because you'd have 2, 4, 6 for each temple upgrade. That is an ideal situation. Anuket, I don't think you will. Don't count on Anuket being a 7 power all the time, or even regularly. At minimum, you want to have Anuket be played when you can guarantee that you can play 1 temple upgrade. Then it becomes a 3/3, which is close to being cost efficient. It's also a high risk, high reward card, so I like that design because I'm a high risk, high reward person. I like those mechanics. So that's how I would play Anuket as player and have temple upgrades ready, such as Flower Pots. I don't have a whole lot more about temple upgrades. I like the idea because essentially these are support cards or enchantments in Magic the Gathering, support from Archman's Legends. But at the moment, I feel like there needs to either be more upgrades or more ways to generate upgrades. Because otherwise, at the moment, there are 6 cards that generate upgrades, which is the 2 Flower Pots, the 2 Feline Garrisons, and then the 2 Alabasters, Priest of Alabaster that generates a Flower Pot. So you would have 6 upgrades there. And Bast, you don't have to trigger your leader's ability every turn, but I think it's better if you can. And that makes the leader better, is if you can trigger them every turn. So, at the moment, that is my thoughts on the Egyptian card reveals, or Egyptian Mythology set. I'm going to have a lot more thoughts once we actually get to see the entire set. We still don't know what APEP does. They are saving what this card does, maybe till the end. I don't know what this unit is, maybe this is, I don't know who this unit would be. This, the leaders have been revealed. I just don't remember all of their names, but it's in the Discord. If you find that little search bar, you can go search it and just search leaders, because they did reveal the 4 names, or you could just search Bast, and her name was listed with 3 others of Osiris, and there were 2 others I don't really remember. But I hope you guys can pre-order the Egyptian set, or are just excited for Egyptian set, because you can save your gold. And, well, I don't know if you can. I don't think you can buy mythology specific packs. I'm thinking of Elder Scrolls Legends, but you can still save your gold, buy packs and get Egyptian cards. You will have a lower chance of getting them, but you will still be able to get them. So there you guys have it. Thank you so much to the developers of the game for allowing me to do a card reveal. I have been wanting to do that style of either dust, or I just used sand kind of reveal for this one because Egyptian and sand, but that style of reveal where you reveal part of the card over a short period of time, because you don't want to make it too long for people who may get annoyed of you taking forever or giving a teaser that actually shows nothing. But I've had that idea for a while and have been waiting for an opportunity to do it, so I finally got a chance to do it. So thank you guys for doing it. If you have not, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It does help me out to leave comments with your feedback. And I will be coming out with a tutorial video. So if you have any specific tips or things that you would think you would want in a tutorial video, leave it down in the comments below. I will work those suggestions in somehow. However, the video will be coming out very, very soon, so leave those comments quick, because that video will be coming out later this week. And then we're going to be playing a lot of Egyptian when this thing drops, because as far as mythologies go, I think I know the most about Norse and Greek, probably about equally. Maybe Norse a bit more, because I recently read a Norse mythology book. I know nothing about Japanese mythology, know nothing about Mesoamerican other than from one movie. As far as Egyptian goes, I know some of the gods' names, and that is more so than Japanese or Mesoamerican, Slavic, or African, which are the potential upcoming expansions. So, I'm super excited. I hope you guys are, because this has been fun making and a fun opportunity playing, and I am having a lot more fun than I had expected to have when I first started this game. So thank you all for those who have gotten me into this game and helped me out along the way. I am really enjoying it. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys next time.